Hey guys, I got a mixed bag of Huben things for you today, but in all sincerity, the main reason why I'm doing this video in this time is simply because in about a week from the time that this video is released, I will have the GK1 in 30 caliber. Yeah! So I was just too excited and I said, okay, I must make a video. And of course, that is a little bit too little information. So I decided to show you a bunch of stuff that I'm working on right now. They are relatively minor, some maybe a little more important than others, but in any case, here goes. I will talk about the 30 caliber a little bit more in the end, just to keep the suspense a little bit, so I keep you watching and not turning off my video, hopefully. Okay, so obviously I tend to experiment with GK1, K1 a lot. I'm also privileged, as I mentioned in a lot of videos, especially because of my cooperation with Huben. And because of that, I tend to experiment and try to do things that haven't been done before, or basically try to give new ideas to Huben. That would be, let's say, one of the main purpose, and hopefully the ones that are really prevalent and really attractive to you stick like the GK1 did. Okay, so let's go through a couple of things. First, very minor thing. How do you like this? So personally, I'm a bit frustrated with fake use of carbon, meaning that that you make everything look like carbon fiber when in fact this is not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the material where it's appropriate and it is miraculous things are done with it, but still I'm a bit, in general, I don't like, I guess, fake things. I like things the way they are. So which one do you prefer? How do you like the look? By the way, I didn't strip the wrapping off. I simply replaced it with the plenum from an old K1, because old K1s has exact same size and everything is same, just that there is no carbon sleeve on it. Honestly, in this case, I would go with carbon fiber. I prefer that look, but I just wanted to run this by you and let me know what you think about it. That's a very minor thing, but still important to me. The next thing is actually really quite important to me, and actually a lot of you also commented in regards to this in my previous video, and also the shorts, I'm Batman shorts, and that is this thing here. So what this actually is a GK1 body. I have a red dot on, but that's not important. But the tube is from K1. It's only a main tube, so without the regulator and the plenum. In the Mini, the plenum would be the size of the actual Mini reservoir. But this is something I've been playing it for quite a while. And this, of course, is extremely light. In this configuration that I have it now, which is with a regulator, it's Huma regulator, and I charge it here like a regular K1. And with this red dot, right now it's about 1.8 kilograms. I will put this in pounds as well. So it's ridiculously light. Of course, right now I'm using the stock from Wolfiak, which is also carbon fiber and extremely light. I will experiment a little bit with the collapsible, the foldable version. But for the sake of this being light, I did it this way. So I'm curious what you think about this. This is actually something I started with the full-size barrel. So the first version had just a barrel fully till the end, and that made it really powerful, but also, of course, really loud. But I decided to go to a little bit different version here. And what I did is I basically destroy one of the suppressors from Huben. So these are the one that you can get with GK1. And I did this, so it's best that I show you. So this end cap is already from the suppressor. And by the way, if you try to disassemble this suppressor, it's almost impossible because there is a red thread lock on this one. The way I did it, I destroyed the carbon fiber tube and I heated it up so much that the thread lock released, because that's the way you get the thread lock to release. And I have this. So this is just a same size carbon fiber shroud as the suppressor, and we will get on that a little bit later. And here is the actual suppressor. So I'm use the lathe to get rid of the edge on the rear side. I took out the threads and I actually have just some screws going slightly into the barrel to keep it not going off. And I made these cuts on the mill to allow also the rear part of the shroud to be useful, so to have the suppression, to have the volume. And of course, at the end, this is all as it was before. So just threaded on, and this at the same time keeps the shroud on. And I made this rear part, which is actually has a cut here because it's slightly higher than the action, but otherwise it's just plastic. It's POM plastic made part, because there is no point of making this out of aluminum and add weight, and also slightly different to, you have to anodize it if you want it to look nice. But the trick here is that this tube, of course the same one as a suppressor, is not 25 millimeter outer diameter, it's actually 26. And this presents quite a challenge. First of all, it's much closer to the barrel, and of course it's less standard size for the tube itself. But in any case, I decided to go this way. It's almost touching the tube, and but it is fully free floating, and the barrel length is 40.5 centimeters. That's what it gave me in order to get the full size. This is 500 millimeter carbon fiber shroud, and I just like this thing a lot, and especially for the weight and the performance. I have the Huma regulator inside. As I mentioned, I placed it about here, so it's much smaller plenum than on the K1, but you don't need such a big plenum because it's shorter barrel anyway. Right now it's in 22 caliber, and I get I have it regulated at 200 bars, or just about, and with this I can still get 100 joules, so maybe a little less. So with 34 grains I get about 290 meters per second or something like that. So it's actually perfectly sufficient for me. I mean, for accuracy and for the magazine size and everything, it's just the right size. Now, I want to talk about also a little about the option of having it non-regulated, because in that way you can have it supersonic, because it's of course this barrel length and the power of like GK1, which is also unregulated. If you open up, you can get ridiculous powers. But there is, of course, there is multiple reasons, but there is one thing that I notice on all of this, my experience, there is some sort of resonance going on. I assume it's simply because this valve from K1, GK1 is just so efficient, and it's closing up so fast, and the air just rams in and goes back and forth, and it's really annoying. It's actually a little bit frightening to me as well. I don't like resonance. I mean, anytime that anything bad can happen, it usually starts with some sort of resonance. In any case, that's why I will not probably make any more experience with these things unregulated, which would provide more power. And it does provide ridiculous power. I'm talking about 140, 150 joules in 22 without issue. But the thing I don't like when I made this is the fact that now that I have a regulator in, I have to use this K1 filling solution. I could have also a gauge here, of course. I don't need it, and I said I want to have it as minimalistic as possible. But the thing I don't like about this, because I mean, it's a good gesture from K1 to give us, from Huben, to give the K1 option to have a filter in. But this thing is just too heavy and uses too much space in the cylinder. So I'm threading only the portion where the filter is and the hole for the fill port. And this is the filter, and this is not used space here, and it goes even further. So up until about here, you don't actually use the tube. That is completely different than on the GK1, which has air right up until the end. So of course they did this because you need to optimize the size, the volume on such a small thing as the pistol, especially the short one, even the regular one. Because of that, everything is quite heavy, because this is quite a big chunk of aluminium, and here is a bigger chunk of aluminium, and there is less air. And of course I'm using also this portion of the tube for the regulator. So it's not that I'm not getting enough shots. I mean, with this power, so let's say close to or even 100 joules, I still can get one full magazine, which is for me enough. And I will be charging only to 300 bars because of the Huma regulator. But still, I'm considering actually making this end part as I have it on my prototype of the pistol, which is basically the same as on the GK1 pistol, but just added a nipple for the quick fill port. And that is, in my opinion, the best option anyway, because then you don't need a probe. And I assume a lot of you are also annoyed by the use of probes, and would just prefer the quick fill connection. So let's put this back on. It's quite easy to assemble. I don't have any O-rings here. I just have a really snug fit. And I will not tighten it now, but I will thread it in so it stays on, hopefully successfully in the camera. Yeah, so I think it looks quite nice, and it's also definitely effective. It's really accurate. I will do some accuracy in the next video, hopefully, if it's warm enough to shoot outside a little bit. But that's one of the projects. By the way, this whole thing is just about 7 centimeters longer than the actual GK1. And the actual K1. And since we are talking about K1, I have another option, which I don't have now assembled, but I have here the stock modified for that. So the same thing that I did here, I also want to build in the bullpup configuration. And this is already a stock that is made, and I'll also already assemble this at some point, but I don't have it now. But you can imagine, so that would be the whole rifle. So extremely short, and still have the more or less main benefits of the K1. So I just wanted to bring this out. So with this out of the way, let's get to the, let's say, star of the day. Of course, it's not here yet, but it should be in about a week from the time when I release this video. I do have this photo for you. So this was sent to me from Huben directly, when they told me that they are shipping the shipment already to the Wolfia group. And Wolfia will be forwarded it to me then. Let's get with the basics. So it's serial again, number 1, which is for me, GK1 with my signature. So Gregor Kamenšek, GK, and my signature on it. Thank you, Huben. I really appreciate that. You're spoiling me by now, but I really appreciate it. It's a standard GK1, so full size. They will be shipping me the mini as well afterwards. But it's not in this shipment because they have to go through the procedure to ship out for the export license, and currently it was not in the shipping. So I should get it really soon, probably. In any case, maybe for the 30 caliber, I'm looking forward a little bit more to the standard size. I'm a little bit skeptical what velocity, what will be possible to do with the short version. But in any case, here is the picture. It looks exactly the same as the regular GK1 standard. So the very minor thing that are noticeable, of course, it's noticeable that the magazine has bigger bulges for the bigger caliber. It's also noticeable that this part is slightly smaller because it has to be lower in order to be able to fit larger caliber pellets or slugs. But judging by the position where the magazine is, I would say that it might be possible to load 2 of them at a time, like it is on the 177 caliber with the default this pellet slug retainer. Not sure about that. We'll see. It seems to me that the length of the magazine remained the same, which is 11 millimeter. I was hoping a little bit bigger, at least for the rifle, if there is ever a K1 in 30 caliber. Hopefully there will be, it should be. But for the pistol, I'm perfectly okay with it, with the 11 millimeters. And this is based on the currently heaviest slugs that I have from Zan. These are 68 grain. Sorry, I don't have the original box. Yeah, 68 grain hollow points, which are slightly shorter, just that they will fit in the magazine. Oh, this is already prepared for the pistol. And the other things that I know they had to modify is I assume they made the ball bearing, which is for rotating of the magazine. I assume they used a slightly smaller version because that way you get inner portion of the magazine to allow bigger pellets or slugs, so bigger caliber. Because 25 is already on the limit in terms of the size. And I also assume that they made this part with this mechanism for positioning the magazine slightly higher, because this one does not allow any more going any more further up, or they lower the barrel, one of those things. But I think that they made this part different in order to allow bigger caliber. It seems to me that they haven't changed anything else. Now, generally that's okay, but I would say that that means that that platform is not prepared yet for 9mm, which I'm also hoping that there will be at some point out. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they will listen to me, and especially you, which I believe are even more enthusiastic about the 9mm version. So that's it. I can't wait for that thing to get here. Hopefully it will get as soon as possible, because I have some business trip to attend, and I'm hoping it will not arrive just at the time when I'm not home. Of course, there will be videos starting with shorts and everything afterwards about it, as I usually do with GK1s and K1s in general. So that's it, guys. Thanks for sticking throughout this whole video, which was, you would probably say, unnecessarily long. And see you when it comes out.